The two faces of the Professional Fighters League are set to make their return, and it will be on the very same night. On the men's side of things, it is the undefeated phenom Usman Nurmagomedov back to defend his lightweight throne once again, and for the women, it is the undefeated phenom in Dakota Ditcheva, who is back after nearly a year-long layoff due to injury, and both will be fighting back-to-back as a co-main event and main event at PFL Long Island on July 31st at the UBS Arena. For the 21-0 Usman Nurmagomedov, he will be entering his 8th consecutive title fight when he takes on the challenger and fellow undefeated fighter Archie Colgan in the main event of PFL Long Island. That's right, these two will be combined for a 34-0 record when they step into the cage across from one another in a very highly anticipated title fight, in my opinion. For Archie Colgan, it is a very long time coming, and for Usman, he just continues to show how dominant and how many levels above the rest of the competition that he is. We've already seen Usman fight once in 2026, and that was against Alfie Davis, who pulled off the underdog run during the 2025 PFL season, and what would earn him the opportunity to face Usman for the championship earlier this year. But after a relatively good back and forth scrap, Usman would pull away as the fight would go on and ultimately secure the third round submission win to continue his perfect record and dominance at 155. Prior to the Alfie Davis victory for Usman were back-to-back fights in 2025 against Paul Hughes, two of the highest level fighters in the lightweight division, not only in the PFL, but in all of mixed martial arts. Two absolutely fantastic fights, with the first one in January of last year being the best fight in PFL history, hands down. And of course, the title fight run for Usman would start when it was still Bellator, and myself and former co-host of the show, Noah, actually had the honor to witness Usman Nurmagomedov become a champion when he would defeat Patricio Pitbull in November of 2022 in Chicago, Illinois, and he has ran through the competition ever since. And now he gets a very intriguing matchup and a tough test, in my opinion, in Archie Colgan, who is known for his American-style wrestling and grappling capabilities and has had all 13 of his professional bouts in prominent promotions. He started his career professionally in LFA with back-to-back finishes, and then in just his third fight would be signed to Bellator, and from there the rest is history, with 10 of his next 11 fights coming under the Bellator banner, and the lone one that wasn't in Bellator was in Khabib's promotion, Eagle FC, back in March of 2022, and now he faces the family of Khabib and the protege, some would say, in Usman Nurmagomedov. What, in my opinion, holds Archie Colgan back from getting the respect that he truly deserves in the MMA community is his lack of finishing capability, as he has 6 finishes out of 13 wins with 7 decisions. However, for what it's worth, 5 of the 6 victories that have come by way of stoppage have been by way of knockout, and in most of the fights that have gone the distance, he has dominated and had very little pushback from his opponents. And fight by fight, we have really seen him evolve as a mixed martial artist and grow more comfortable in the striking realm, and I think that he is going to need that if he wants to find success against Usman Nurmagomedov. And I think it's also worth noting that if he decides to offensively wrestle and grapple against Usman, that is something that we don't really get to see Usman do from a defensive standpoint all that often. And so I think that this mixture of skill sets between these two lends us to a very intriguing matchup with a lightweight title on the line. I'm very happy for Colgan to finally get this opportunity, as he has been passed up numerous times now. And for Usman Nurmagomedov, if he can get another victory here against Colgan and beat an undefeated fighter who is very legit and 30 years old, right in his prime, he just continues to further solidify himself as not only the best lightweight in the PFL, but probably a top 5 lightweight in all of the sport, regardless of promotion. And for the other undefeated championship winning phenom on this card, Dakota Ditcheva, she will be back for the first time in what will be a year, nearly to the day, when she takes on Bellator mainstay Denise Kielholtz. And I just got to get my gripes out of the way early here before I talk about what these two fighters have been doing as of late. This is not the fight that makes sense, in my opinion. I don't understand why the PFL is deciding to match up Dakota with Denise over the 2025 tournament winner and longtime UFC veteran and title challenging in 2 different weight classes, Liz Carmouche. I simply do not understand it. I get it. They had Dakota match up with Denise earlier on in the year. It was supposed to happen in February, but Dakota injured her hand and had to get a small surgery on it. And in the meantime, Denise would take on Antonina Silvanade on short notice, and for what it's worth, get a victory, and she now finds herself on a 3-fight win streak. But I think we are all anticipating one-way traffic here from Dakota Ditcheva. She is levels above all of the other women's flyweights in this division right now, except for Liz Carmouche, and for that reason alone, that is the fight that should have been booked here. So I got to give this matchup specifically a thumbs down. However, for Dakota Ditcheva, she's just controlling what she can control. She doesn't make the matches, she just goes in and kicks ass. At 27 years of age, not even in her prime yet, she has a perfect 15-0 record with 13 out of the 15 wins coming by way of stoppage and 12 of the 13 by way of knockout. And not only will she be entering this fight on a one-year layoff, but she only had one fight in all of 2025, and that was a decision win over another Bellator alum, Sumiko Inaba. However, in 2024, she would go undefeated with 4 victories, all by way of stoppage, leading her to the $1 million tournament championship when she would finish former UFC title challenger Talia Santos. And in 2023, she was the PFL Europe champion, and so she is quite literally collecting all of the rubies possible in the PFL. And as for Denise Kielholtz, as I mentioned, she is on a 3-fight win streak for what it's worth, so I'm not trying to take away credibility for her as an opponent for Dakota. I just feel that there is a clear-cut matchup that should be made instead. But I will be curious to see if Denise Kielholtz can take Dakota Ditcheva into the deep waters, and of course, maybe pull off the upset that absolutely no one sees coming, because it's worth noting that in Kielholtz's 5 career losses, she has never been knocked out before, so she could prove to be a durable test on the feet for Dakota Ditcheva. But now just think about this for a second. 3 of the 4 fighters in the main and co-main event of this PFL Long Island card are undefeated and combined for a 49-0 record, with 2 of the 3, Usman and Dakota, arguably not even in their prime yet, but just now getting ready to enter it, and for Colgan right in the middle of it now at 30. These 3 do kind of represent the future of the sport, the next generation, the new wave of mixed martial arts, and are spearheading the charge for the Professional Fighters League hands down. And so now I want to turn the discussion over to you. What are your thoughts on these matchups, and what are your early predictions? Do you think Archie Colgan can pull off the upset and hand Usman Nurmagomedov the first loss of his career and take away the championship from him at lightweight, or will Usman continue to reign supreme at 155? And in that women's flyweight scrap, do you agree with me in the sense that Dakota Ditcheva should be fighting Liz Carmouche here instead of Denise Kielholtz, or are you okay with this matchmaking? Be sure to give me all of your thoughts and again, your predictions down below. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to drop a like and subscribe to the channel if you are new, because every single week I am breaking down and discussing the biggest and best fights and storylines. In the aftermath of every card, I recap the most meaningful results, and I give my thoughts and opinions on MMA news and fight announcements such as these whenever the big news drops in the sport of MMA. You can also join the discussion on social media at Verbal Spar MMA on X, Instagram, and TikTok, as well as like the Facebook page Verbal Sparring MMA, and you can follow on your favorite audio listening platforms such as Spotify and Apple, where every Monday and Friday podcast episodes release there. Have a great week, and I will see you all in the next video.